Welcome to Not Your Average Joe podcast. Today we're happy to have a Canadian-born comedian actor on our show. He now lives in LA, Los Angeles, United States. He is a veteran at the Montreal Just Festival. He performed at the Late Show with David Letterman on Jay Leno. He worked with Jon Stewart. He performed comedy all around the world. He did few movies. I mean, he's got a resume, such a big resume that would take me another hour or so to just get through it. So we'll just get to the point here. We have the amazing Jeremy Hotz, Hotz with us. Welcome, Jeremy, and thank you for taking the time to come with us. I know you're a really busy man lately, which is really great.
I've gone from being not busy at all to busy out of my mind again. Be careful what you wish for, gentlemen. It changed. It's an on and off switch, you know? Okay, yes. Crowds are socially distanced and they're only allowed a certain amount in, but they fill them and you still have to do the show every single night. You know what I mean?
That is amazing. That is amazing. And actually, tonight, I believe it's your last show here in Edmonton at 7 at the Comic Strip.
Yeah, that was the first time in 28 years I ever played the Comic Strip, because I always play the Wind Spear or the Casino when I come to Edmonton, right? So I never played the club. And guess what? A guy that started comedy named Ricky Bronson around the same time I did, what has been my friend for all these years, and I never played his club until this week.
Oh, wow. That's such a nice club today. I like the Comic Strip. Every time I have a chance.
The thing about it is that we're hanging out, and it's like, I'm not just doing stand-up. I'm seeing some old friends as well, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's a great gig. How did you like spending the weekend here in Edmonton?
Well, it was really good, but I have to stress to you about comedians and comedy and what I've learned. The group that I came up with is not like the group that are coming up today. We were like friends, and we weren't against each other. We kind of rooted for each other. You know what I mean?
That's correct, yes.
Not in Canada only, but in the United States as well. The new people coming up are extremely cutthroat and don't give a crap about anybody else. And you know what? That's not what comedy's about at all.
No, that's
did you feel something like that here? In Edmonton and other gigs that you did there in Canada so far?
It's obvious. It is obvious. Oh, yeah. I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing to me.
Oh my God. It's really
new feeling going on that is extremely dangerous. And maybe the pandemic will help clear it up.
that could be a good thing, maybe. Well, Lars Callieou actually is really involved in the comedian scene here in Edmonton. Hi, Lars. How are you, buddy?
Good.
You ask him about that, man.
Yeah.
He knows nothing other than what I was just talking about.
Well, I've been pretty fortunate. So I've been doing comedy for 17 years and was the house MC at Rick's Club for about 5 years. The first time I met you, it was we were in line together at Just for Laughs in 2005. And I remember getting to it was you were in front of me and Harland Williams was behind me. And in 2005, I was like, I can't believe I'm standing in line with Jeremy Hotz in front of me and Harland Williams behind me. And I turned to Harland and I go, wow, fucking Jeremy Hotz always holding up the line. And Harland laughed. And it was like, so that's the first time. And, so I've, been a part of Canadian comedy. I've been really spoiled in my career. I've done Just for Laughs and have a comedy now and everything. But what you talk about, I kind of bridge those two generations. And what I like is that there's this generation that calls Rick Bronson Ricky, and that's how you know they've been around a long time, is because...
Yeah, I do call him that.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Does he not like it? I was wondering about that, because I seem to be the only guy running around the club calling him Ricky. That's so weird.
No, so it's not. It's actually generationally, I know who knew Rick from the very beginning, because the guys like you and Brent Butt and Harland and Joey Elias...
Yes, Joey.
And so there's this group that of your generation, of your class that you're talking about, that still call. He was Ricky Bronson, and so you guys still.
That was Ricky.
Yeah. So
we knew Ricky before. He was like well into himself and just extremely Jewish. We knew him. The Judaism overwhelmed him and turned him into what he is today, annoying.
Nice.
I think that there are so few people in your class as far as, like people who go around and sell out these theater tours, like you, Harlan, Deborah DiGiovanni, maybe Derek Edwards to an extent. But I think that it's whenever you pass through, I have such fondness for that group because you're all the people that are all still around from that alumni are such good comedians.
And we're friends,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and what we were talking about. We are all like Harlan is a friend of mine. When we see each other, we're both excited.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We haven't seen each other in a while, and we jump around. It's like there's no competition there at all. What people have to understand is you're not against another comedian. There's so much room in show business. Just be unique and different, and it will come. That's so simple.
Yeah.
And this whole, I have to be better than that guy. I have to be. No, you don't. When you're on a comedy show, it's a show. It's like a whole team thing. And that's gone away. It's now the individual trying to do as best as they possibly can to blow the other people off the stage, and that's just wrong.
Yeah, the good MCs, the people that are good, aren't threatened by that. And one of the things that I've always said is you don't have to root against somebody in entertainment. Entertainment will root against them.
Exactly. What you're involved in is pretty much the hardest thing in the world. It really is. And you go in with no training because there's no training for it. You just have to figure out whether you can do it or not.
Except in Montreal, though.
You can take a class in school, right?
Yeah.
How's that gonna fare for you, man? I don't know.
Not good.
You've always had such a unique delivery, but also I think that one of the things that makes Jeremy Hotz is not just a unique delivery, but a great amount of originality. So I think that how you become, and this is I'm theorizing, how you become somebody who sells out theaters is to be both original and unique, because then you've got this unique perspective. Were you like that from the very beginning? Because there's so many cookie cutter comedians where it's just set up punch. Were you always unique, or did you develop that over time?
Over time, I started off being really hyper energetic, and then I had no energy, and then I just, I just start, people go the hand in front of the face. That's what I do when I have generalized anxiety disorder. And that's what happens to me when I get anxious, and it's just a natural reaction. And until people started to say, why are you putting your hand in front of your face? I didn't pick it up. I didn't realize.
In the same time, though, the reason why I know Jeremy Hotz is exactly for those reasons. I think it's charming. It's just the way you delivered your comedy, and it's just part of your character. And I don't think it's something I like it. Obviously, just the way you tell a joke and the way you bring it on and all that. You did a bit actually, Jeremy, and I wanted to ask you about this. That was a great bit you did on Just for Laugh, and that was about the road construction in Montreal. I don't know if that ring a bell to you.
Montreal, a city that has no clue how to finish a street. Yeah, they get about halfway done. Then someone yells, "C'est tout!" And that's the end of the construction. They'll figure around a way to go. They try, though. They pretend they're going to fix the street here. They put those orange cones down. You're expecting something magnificent. 2 weeks later, the cones are gone. Nothing's changed at all. I don't know what they're doing outside of the theater here. That's been going on for 17 years. You got to look at that thing. They're watering cement with sprinklers. If they're thinking they're going to grow grass, c'est tout. And I love your license plate. That kills me. Je me souviens. I remember. What? When there used to be a whole street there?
I made it up because I made that up, that taping, because I was driving around in the thing, and I made that up. So that was never in my act. A lot of stuff on Just for Laughs, I just did it that week, and it's really not in my act, but it got famous because it hit a nerve. You know what I mean?
It is so on point, because me being from Montreal, Sebastian's from Montreal, my girlfriend lives in Montreal before, and that was so on point. I'm like, did he live there before? Like, that was literally like finger right on the subject.
My whole act is just seeing something, and if it's shit, telling people about it. That's it. I just complain about things that are shit, and they're the smallest little things. However, a lot of people feel the same way.
It was just funny because that was so on point, and as I said, you made a lot of Montreal people laugh on this bit particularly. It's right
good
on.
when you hit a local thing like that and you don't even really know. It's just you're upset and they're upset, but you didn't know how much they were upset about.
Yeah, we're always upset about it every year. So that's
construction in Montreal is right. Yeah,
that's so bad.
The thing was, there were all these cones around, but there was nobody working. That's what really
exactly.
Not even a guy standing at the end going, "Don't come in this lane." They're so lazy. They just put cones down and walk away.
That's basically it. Have you drove around Montreal, Lars?
Yes, and I think that the commonality of that in Edmonton, we've just given up. So we know we actually have signs in Edmonton that don't say construction ahead. It doesn't say construction. For real, we have signs that say obstruction.
Nice.
They're just obstructing. They're not doing anything. They're just like, there's an obstruction ahead. So we're gonna, that's very funny.
He's from Edmonton, right? I got to ask you something, Lars, because you have the West Edmonton Mall, right?
We sure do.
Yeah, like I had heard tale of it. This is the mall. It's in Edmonton. It has like a roller coaster, and it has like an underwater thing and a big wave that somehow doesn't destroy children's lives. Anyway, they got all this stuff there. You drive up to the thing. It looks like a piece of shit. I mean, fuck, that place. It looks like a big housing unit for the homeless. It's absolutely horrible. You gotta paint it. You gotta make it look a little inviting when you're in competition with, I don't know, Canada's Wonderland. Get in the game, Edmonton. Jeez.
That's an obstruction.
That's an obstruction, yeah.
They go that there's no one in the mall because of COVID. There's no one in the mall because the mall is shit. That's why.
I think the message will be delivered to the proper people here.
Yeah. Ryan Belleville had a funny take. Ryan Belleville's take on it many years ago. He goes, this was built by somebody who was on cocaine who has attention deficit disorder. Like when they went in to pitch it, they were like, okay, I got an idea for a mall. What's your idea? There's going to be a water park. What? And a roller coaster. What? And a bunch of Orange Juliuses. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And there's going to be a pirate ship. Get out of my office.
There you go. Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's true that it could be probably a little bit better, I don't know, better made with it.
Aesthetically
pleasing,
Dude, it's an eyesore from the outside. Come on, it is. What do you want me to say? It's not just a little ugly. It's tourists drive by and go, what the fuck is that? And keep going. That's not good.
That's awesome. Hey, Jeremy, a question. So when you first started your tour, this tour presently that you're doing, what made you wanted to go on tour in this particular period of time right now?
Story. Okay, Ricky, I do a show on Sunday. I was Sunday show on Facebook Live. That's quite popular when I do it. I don't do it every week. I do it when I can do it. And people know that, and they tune in. So they just check it Sunday at 7 to see if we're on or not. Obviously, I'm not on now because I'm on the road. But Ricky Bronson came on the show to discuss the difficulty for the club owners. And we started talking, and I decided to play a couple of his clubs. And then other club owners found out that I was coming to do a couple of Ricky's clubs. And it just it's getting longer and longer and longer, which I'm fine with because I don't particularly want to go back to the United States right now with the situation going on with Foghorn Leghorn over there. So I'm staying here.
Did you come in Montreal in your tour or not at all?
We're just talking about it. That's why it's good that you guys, I'm talking to you today. It's not confirmed, but Ottawa and Montreal we are looking at right now.
Nice.
Usually, sometimes those things fall away, but sometimes they don't. So we'll see what happens.
But you may be aware that Montreal is actually the capital for coronavirus in Canada, right?
I thought they were doing way better, and they stopped. They stopped kissing each other with their.
Yeah, it's better now. But when you look at Canada as a whole, Montreal is the worst place for coronavirus.
Still the worst place.
Yeah. Montreal.
Okay, so we'll do a show just outside of Montreal.
Yeah. Come in Laval or Brossard or something like that in the suburbs.
I'll find out where the line is, and we'll do it just over the line, and we should be okay.
Perfect.
That's right. That's awesome. So Jeremy, so you will be in Winnipeg on the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th this month. 25th and 26th, you'll be in Calgary also.
Yeah.
I believe.
I've done that one before. I haven't done the Winnipeg, but I've done the one in Calgary. It's a big, big room, and the guy had me come in. I did it once, and it was great. So I'm looking forward to that. Calgary's always been really good to me as far as crowds. They really support me.
It's a really great city, and after that you're going, I believe, to Sydney, Canada, not Australia. So Australia, take it, be patient.
I haven't been there either, so that's the first time too. And then, like you said, we're going to do some more because they're adding them, and because of the COVID, they can quickly put me in. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's all positive, and I'm able to play clubs for the first time. Oh, guys, it's been years. And I'll tell you, there's nothing. It's so great to be in the club again because I started there. And you know what? All comedians, all stand-ups are better in a tinier venue. It's way more intimate. And the comedian doesn't have to work to create what's called fake intimacy, which works. Mm-hmm. But when it's actually intimate, it's so much easier. Ask Lars, he'll tell you.
Yeah. I've never had to worry about playing the giant theaters. And so clubs. You're gonna love Rumors. Rumors is fantastic. You know, it's been around for almost 35 years now.
It's famous. That's what I was told. It's actually a famous club. It's been there forever. It's one of Canada's oldest, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and it's the guy who runs it, the manager Tyler, will spoil you rotten. He's great. The staff really know, and it's one of those clubs where they do it right. You know, the audience is trained. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know, when another comic says that to a guy, it's really important. That's the most important, because when a guy says that, that's the most glowing review a club could get. He just gave it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What he's saying, something really shitty happens, they know how to handle it.
Yeah, precisely. Mm-hmm. And it's awesome. And they've been established for a long, long time. And I'm sure they're going to be really excited to have you. Like, they get it. They know comedy. The staff all knows comedy. The club knows comedy. And
they do in Edmonton too. Hey? They really know what they're doing there. My God, that thing runs like a machine, huh?
Yeah, it's nice when you have somebody like Rick who toured for so long. It's funny. I always talk to people forgetting that there's some people listening who aren't necessarily comedians. So what Jeremy Hotz is talking about here is the guys who played clubs and worked the road many, many years ago have these chops that they're able to play big theaters. The timing changes. You really have to give everything an extra second or an extra half a second in order to let the laughs come from the back of the room to the front of the room. And so when you take somebody who's used to playing theaters and put them in a small, intimate club setting, it's wiffle ball for them. They're hitting home runs like crazy. It's just bang, bang, bang because, So it's, you know, you're not going to get an opportunity to see Jeremy Hotz in a club very often. And, you know, so this is an opportunity. If you're in Winnipeg or if you happen to be in Edmonton, go see him. He's a world-class act.
No, they know they're coming. They get it. They know. And they, you know, the clubs have been good to get the new, you know, that's the word out on the new. They've been doing news stories because of the COVID. You know what I mean? On me?
Yeah.
It's news for some reason. So it isn't, it's a story, which is really good because I guess it's a story because people have been ripped off and they haven't been able to go to the clubs for a while, right? There's been no entertainment whatsoever. Like, are you working consistently now, Lars, that it's back in Canada?
Well, I was in Australia. So I tour Australia for about 3 months every year. So I go down and do the Melbourne Festival. And then there's some great English-speaking comedy clubs in Asia. So I don't know if you've been to Asia recently, but they got a couple of promoters there that will take great care of you if and when things open back up, which I hope they do. So I kind of create.
You're doing international gigs a lot, and so how long is it going to take before the international opens up? I mean, geez, before they start letting you into other countries. I mean, Jesus.
Who knows?
Yeah, and I'll touch on it really quickly because we've talked about it on the podcast. You know, when they had me on as a guest, we talked about it, so I don't want to bore anybody. But I created a thing when I came home from Australia. I just wanted to perform again, like all of us. I just wanted to do shows again, and the clubs weren't open, so I created this thing called the Fire Pit Comedy Tour. And, you know, I just finished headlining Rumors, so I'm not, you know, it's funny, we all, you know, I'm normally a, headliner. So I created this thing in backyards. We've done 148 shows since May 2nd.
That's incredible.
So what you do is you put on a show in a space and people come, right? And yourself?
They book me in a backyard. So Alberta had opened up outdoor gatherings of 15 people, and I have a bit of a following on Twitter, so I just put out, I'm like, hey, if anybody wants a comedian in their backyard, get a dozen friends together and I'll come to a show. And then they opened up the gatherings to 50 and then 100, then 200. So of the shows, our average crowd size is probably between 20 and 40. We've done a couple that are 100 or bigger. And it's just been, I mean,
you know why? Because it's good for you. You know what to do. That is what he's talking about now is special learning skills is what he's getting now. And that's really important. And don't think you'll never use those because you know you will. Oh, yeah, that's important. So I think that as far as theaters and stuff go, I can just do different kinds of rooms simply because I've done so many different kinds of things, and that's it. And then you just adapt. And what he was saying about timing and holding it back, I don't even think about. It's not like you count in your head or consciously go. You just discover the timing of the room within seconds because you've done so many things and never think about it for the rest of the performance ever. Yeah. You know, so. You feel the thing. It's almost like you get a feel for the room. They get a feel for your feel of the room and your timing, and the two things mix. And then they're not in a theater anymore. They're just like, watching you. They're the only people that are watching you, and everything that happened before they forget.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
it's true. Amazing.
Speak of room, I saw that you did the Madison Square Garden, it's a huge venue.
I did Gator Growl in Florida. It was 80,000 people.
80,000 people.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
It was in the football stadium. It was their rally year, and they had won the whole championship. And the guy that from the boxing, Get Ready to Rumble, that guy that goes, Get Ready to Rumble. They hired him to introduce me.
Oh, my God. That's Buffer. What's his name?
Michael Buffer, yeah.
Michael Buffer.
Get ready to rumble.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's get ready to rumble!
The fakest looking man in the world, and then his wife is equally fake. You shake their hand and plastic comes off. It's weird.
Yeah, and
That's amazing.
And he's being paid a lot of dough to say that sentence,
one line.
right?
Yeah.
One line.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's amazing that the
He's
guy
the
can make.
luckiest man in show.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. One line. Yeah,
Absolutely.
And he patented it, so anytime anyone uses it, he gets paid. That's amazing.
Oh, is that right? Oh, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
it's
amazing.
his line.
It's a really smart guy. Smart guy. Absolutely. Yeah. So I was kind of wondering, because those big room, you were just talking with Lars about, the intimacy between, people, in the big room and the small room, and now you're doing a tour, and it's all like medium-sized room to small room. It must be good for you to be back to this and be in contact with your people.
Well, the new stuff just comes flying out because I don't rely on the act really, right? Like every show, I'm hearing half of it for the first time too. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, okay. That's awesome.
That's why I laugh, because half the shit is new and I haven't heard it, and I'm thinking, oh, you better remember that one, you idiot, and write it down.
When you know what, unfortunately I couldn't make it for the Edmonton show, but that's why on the 25th, 26th I will be there in Calgary.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And hopefully
well, come and say hi, man, because I don't have many friends out here, so it's kind of hard. I did in Vancouver. A lot of my friends came to the show in Vancouver, but Edmonton, no, Calgary, that's always on the tour of mine, but I just rush through to the next city and stuff.
Yeah, no, I get it. And I hope Lars is going to have time. Maybe we'll see his schedule. Lars is a really busy guy too, but hopefully he's going to have time to come with me in Calgary. That would be a great
come
trip.
down and say hi. I'd love that, guys, really.
Oh, absolutely. So I have a question from a friend of yours.
Yes.
And I talked to him and he said, you know what, ask him this for me. And nobody else but Angelo Tsaroukas can talk about food. So he asked me, he's like, well, ask him what is his best food in Montreal and what it is his best food in the United States. Okay. What's your preferences?
Montreal is way better than anywhere that I've been in the States. The best place to go is Schwartz's if you want to smoke meat.
There you go.
Yeah.
If you want ribs, you want to go to the Barbie Barn if you can. That's the greatest place in the world. I've always liked... Oh, what's the name of it? No one else likes it, but they make the smoked meat fat. They cut it fat. It's the Maine. It's called the Maine. Nobody else goes, it's any good, but I go, you know what? That one place, the Maine, that makes the fat smoked meat sandwich, that's the one. The one that I just like to call gout, that one. That's the one I buy.
It sounds fat.
It
sounds fat.
Yeah. There's a picture of someone fat on the bun while you
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Angelo, it's always this question is always mostly about food. So I'm laughing because the first time I met Angelo in Montreal, his first line was, "Well, hey, let's go have a smoked meat at Schwartz." That was his first,
Yeah, he's lost a lot of weight though, because
he's doing so
the
good.
baby and the wife and the whole thing. Yeah, he can't be irresponsible like that anymore.
No, he's doing super good and good for him. So that was my question about this, and of course. I cannot, do an interview with you without talking about Shackleton.
The Wonder Dog. Yeah. Well,
yes.
Yeah.
Do you still bring Shackleton everywhere with you?
He's sleeping. He's on my schedule, so he's asleep right now.
That's amazing because I look at all your shows and all that. And there's always a part in your show you will ask the people, "Do you guys love dogs?" Or because I know you're a big dog. You're a big dog lover, right?
You got me out of. I like because with the anxiety disorder that I have, it leads to agoraphobia, right? So I wasn't getting out of the house at all. And that's no good, except to perform, and that's no good. So now that I have the dog, he's got to go out, right? So if you don't, he craps all over the place, so you got to take him out. So that's positive, and that gets me out of the house. And now that I have him on the road as well, it's just, I have terrible fear of the world from my stomach that I get, and he helps take it away. And the reason why it doesn't affect me when I'm on stage, they believe, is adrenaline.
Oh, is that right?
What I've been told, but no one can really give me the answer to that. No one really, it's a guess. It's a fine guess by them. I'm more comfortable on stage than I am off. That's the way it is.
Well, that's good. So we're gonna see you more and more. That's good. Live performances,
or not at all, if you know what I mean.
yeah, no. I know exactly what you mean. That's funny because myself, I'm a big dog lover too. I don't know. I think Seb, you don't have dog. Lars, do you have a dog?
No, I'm on the road too much, but I love. There's a few comedians like Eliza tours with her doggo, and there's a few that and I'm always a little bit envious when they have their puppo with them.
Well, I went through detox. Quarantine for 2 weeks in New West, and the dog was with me for that time. And without him, I would have been, it made me less crazy than I am, because I'm the wrong guy to be isolated in a place and have someone say you can't go out. That's not good. If you tell me I can't, then I have tremendous anxiety. Get it?
Yeah.
But it was in Westminster, so I looked out the window. I didn't want to go out there. Jesus.
I've been there too, yeah. You just answered my second question. I was about to ask you, are you less miserable since Shackleton's been with you?
There's no question about that. Yeah,
Probably.
I'm still miserable, but I'm at a better place of misery than I was before. In other words, I can find a little bit of the humor in my misery, like the audience does, because sometimes it gets just a little too real, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. That's funny that we talk about that, because I got generalized anxiety disorder myself, and I got
I'm sorry, man.
I got two ginormous dog, and when they feel that I'm getting anxious, they literally just bury me. They're enormous.
They know. My dog
know.
Right in my lap. He knows.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And it helped me a lot too. Anxiety disorder is something, I don't know if you guys ever had anything like that, but it's something really sneaky. You sit, you watch TV, eat popcorn, all of a sudden it just strikes you like a snake bite.
Yeah.
You can't control that.
I just realized I'm a piece of shit and everybody hates my guts. Where did that come
from? Exactly. But that's exactly it. I was just wondering, about the dog, because as I know, you travel with him all the time, and he's such a cute little dog. And other than that, I was kind of wondering, Jeremy. So you're now an American citizen, right?
Oh yeah, I have been for a while. Yeah,
you have been for a while. So the whole world right now is talking about the American election to come, right?
Yeah.
And is it a good source of inspiration for you, or is it something that you prefer to avoid the subject? Or?
I talk a little bit about Trump because of the way that he has, but because it's me, it is the way that it has affected me. Okay, do you understand what I do?
Yeah.
I talk about things that have affected me. I don't really talk about world issues. I will mention a world issue, but then I will personalize it and go, and that's shit because of what it did to me. That's it. Yeah. I don't talk about, I think we should do this instead of that and the world will be bad. I'm not one of those guys. I pole vault, and if Trump builds that wall, I can still vacation in Mexico. There you go. There's one. See, it's personal, right?
That's right.
It's about me. He did something, and here's what I'm going to do. So that's the way I do it. So it isn't this heavy-handed political, some comics do that thing. I don't. It doesn't interest me in the least, guys.
Yeah.
I talk about what I think is funny, and you know what has happened in the United States now is getting dangerously close to horror,
That's something that I observe with artists. Some tend to really want to push their political opinion down your throat, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I would rather have them express that on a personal level, like you're doing.
Yeah, and because you're Canadian. That's what we do, kind of, right?
Yeah, but even if you're a singer or a painter or a writer, I guess you should say, this is how I feel about it, not this is what we should do, right?
Exactly. That's a really good way of putting it. This is how affecting me, and I'm not going to tell you what you should do. This is what I did, whatever, right?
Yeah.
You're right.
I don't think. Do you, Lars, sometimes do much stuff about politics and stuff like that, or something?
No, it was funny when I started out. I really wanted to be able to my act to be able to travel, and so when you watch somebody like Jeremy Hotz or Derek Edwards, there is a personalized generalization that I love. Exactly what he's talking about. Like, here's me, and there's a lot of people that will relate to that. So I didn't ever write jokes about Trudeau or Saskatchewan or Trump or Bush, because I knew I wanted to tour to Australia and Singapore and Germany, and they don't have the same instantaneous recall of what's going on. And so I wanted my act to be able to travel. And I've always, I've never been much of an actor, so I haven't spent much time in LA. But when I was in LA, the last time, a couple of years ago, I was on a comedy show with 15 other comics, and all 15 went up and did a Trump joke, but they were the opposite end of what you guys were just talking about, where they were being a little preachy, or they were, trying to virtue signal. So by the time you got to the 15th comedian, the audience was like, yeah, heard it. Like, they don't want to. Yeah. And so I don't mention Trump at all. I don't talk about Trudeau. And all of that stuff has kind of a shelf life, So if it's like, here's how it affects me now, that's a great joke. And somebody who has the amount of material that somebody like Jeremy Hotz has, or creates at the rate he does, like you said, he goes, I'm doing a bunch of material I've never heard before, because that's, to be that prolific is what, so he can be a little more topical, and it works wonderfully, so
then I never even think about doing it again. You know what I mean, Lars? It's just for the one show. I don't care. You know what I mean? Here's one laugh, and then I don't care. Yeah. And we do that. We all think, here's something the day before everybody's heard about, and then throw it out that night, but then it's gone. Comedy is really disposable, guys. You shouldn't really hang on to your shit and hold it and cuddle it or anything like that. Like, my fans come up to me and they quote a bit from my past. I don't remember it. They do it better than me. They do it better than me now. I don't.
Well, thank you, Jeremy. I did good on the one from Montreal Roads. Yeah.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah. You see, you didn't even remember that one. For me, it's something that really kind of marked me. But
Lars has those two. All comics do. And if we think of it and there's a TV taping, we'll fucking do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. I have two questions that I've always wanted to ask you. I don't know if you'll know the answer to the first one, because it was a long time ago. I think you had, or have, I haven't checked recently, the coolest logo ever made in comedy. I mean that. So
that's Shannon.
The J and the H with the flames on it, I think
Shannon.
Is it? Really?
Well, Shannon's like the lady in charge of my social media. And I used to have, way back in the day, a logo, and she looked at it and then she just modernized it and made it. There's 3 or 4 different ones like that, and it goes on all the merch. And she's just, you get someone like her, okay? Because she's really like, she's just a friend that does my whole fan page. She's a realtor, but she knows marketing and stuff like that, and she looks after that. She's exceptional, and just to have a friend like that, I'm fortunate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So about probably the first website I ever designed, probably 12 years ago, I sent the web designer to your website, and I'm like, make me, and my initials are L and C, so you can't. There's nothing you could do with an L and a C.
With a C, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
No flames.
Shooting out of the top of the C. Nah, forget it.
So I sent them to your website and said, make me look that cool. It's the coolest logo I've ever seen in comedy, hands down.
That's funny, Lars. My God.
Is she behind the fly on your website, the fly idea on your website, when you can play with your mouse and the fly?
No, that was those guys. I never asked for that. Other people took the thing. I just said, make it look miserable, make there be rain, include the dog, and make me look like I'm not having a good time. And they did that whole thing there. Yeah, that's it. And then we looked at it and went, oh, okay, that kind of captures what we're, most people, you go to their website and the rain and the music's playing. I have a thunderstorm.
To make sure. That's awesome.
I think I played I played with the fly for 5 straight minutes.
That's hysterical. It's so fucking stupid. I always go, what's this stupid fucking thing?
Oh my God, Sam, that's awesome. you made that fly worth it now.
Yeah, she was so tired at the end.
I'm good. Tire that thing out.
Yeah,
I think Lars had a second question.
I do. So
Yeah.
there was one logo that was kind of close, and this is this is a passing thought, so it's not a question. But Toby Hargrave, I would give him the silver medal in coolest logos. So
I like Toby. He's a friend of mine. He's a really good guy. The Mountain Man, Toby. Yeah.
So Toby actually introduced me my first ever time on stage, 2003. So he was the MC that night.
Yeah, he's a veteran. He's been around for a while.
Oh,
Yeah. He was a kid when I was ruling in Canada before I moved. He was doing stand-up already, just as a young guy, but he was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a whole class of that. And I was just like maybe one class after him. But his was an H, so his last name is Hargrave. And the H was holding a microphone and a microphone cord. So it was like a person.
Great
so the
idea.
legs and the body of it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
That's a great idea.
So
great idea.
I've had a radio show for 14 years that nobody's listened to. And I created a question it's a comedy radio show. And I like the question, especially asking a veteran comedian. So you get to be on a show with any 2 comedians from any point in history. So they can be alive, they can be no longer alive. 2 comedians and the venue you'd play. So who would you choose and what's the venue?
I would choose George Carlin and Jerry Lewis, and I would put it at Massey Hall in Toronto.
Nice. 2 great comedians. Why Jerry Lewis?
He saw me at the Laugh. I'm one of a very few. Jerry never goes to the comedy clubs because of the way he is. And he was a friend of Dane Cook's because they were in a independent movie together. And Cookie got him down to the Laugh Factory. And he said, Hotsy, like you got to go first. And then I'm going to go because Jerry's here. And then he's going to leave. And I went, oh, okay. I'll go on. Don't worry about it. So I go on. I open, you know what I mean? Just fucking killed, you know what I mean? And then Cook goes on and he fucking kills. And we're standing in the exit. I'll never forget this. We're standing in the exit entrance of the Laugh Factory. And Jerry's leaving, with his 3 or 4 people. And I go to the doorman. You think I could take a picture with him? And the doorman goes, no way, man. He's a real prick. He doesn't take pictures with anybody. Right.
Wow.
And then he looks at me, Lewis, and he goes, oh, that face. And he comes running up to me. He goes, that's the funny kid. That's the funny kid. And then I go, can I take a picture with you, Mr. Lewis? And he goes, sure. And he turned around and the guy was there and he took the picture and then he turned and went the other way and I got it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest moments of my life as a when I was a baby. I saw this guy's black and white movies, man.
Yeah, me too. All of us probably saw those movies. Absolutely.
Dude, that was what a moment, to have that happen,
So pretty physical too, Jerry Lewis, super physical.
And then he did that thing, that "Hey Lady" thing that he does. He yelled it as he was leaving the club.
Yes, he did. Awesome.
And he was like in his, he was like 89 or something.
Man.
Really old at the time, man. Shit.
He's a legend. Cool. He's a true legend.
I got to see him, and he got to see my act. That's amazing. And then he died because he saw my act.
That's it. He's like the modern Charlie Chaplin at the time, kind of thing.
That's what it was, right?
You know what I mean? Like for me, that's what it was.
Yeah, the last throwback to that time, right?
Exactly.
And we weren't alive, so it's kind of cool for us,
Yeah. You still have that picture, I hope.
I do. Did you know what he invented? He invented on cameras. Do you know this? Video replay? He invented it.
Yeah. Really?
Yes. The camera that sits on. He had another camera sitting on top of the camera, and then he could look and play back the scene to see if he'd done it right or not. He invented it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He was an innovator as well as a comedian.
That's interesting. That's interesting also that you go to Jerry Lewis to George Carlin, which was a really controversial, funny comedian, like so smart. I mean, watching his shows, even now I still watch his shows. And after I watch his full bit, at the end, you're still thinking. you're still thinking about what he just said. And, yes, it's funny, but it's deep. It's some deep thoughts.
Carlin he was one of the greatest of all time. Underrated, I think, if not the best, I think. But he was just my favorite growing up as a kid. And then the Lewis thing was the physical. And so I have a little bit of both. And that's good enough for me,
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, anyone else?
I have one last question, and I don't know if Lars answered it before, but we talked with the comedian last week, and not the first time I heard about it, but with the PC culture and everything, it's getting harder and harder to tell jokes now because nobody takes the intention, in consideration when they think about what you were saying. So some comedians are saying that they lost a little bit of their love for comedy because of that. What's your take about it?
I think that the television networks in Canada are doing a terrible job. What do you want me to say to you? They should be ashamed of themselves. They're trying to change what comedy is, and guess what? It's not going to work because what they're showing on their things is not funny. And people watch things that are entertaining, and that's not entertaining. You can't just come in and go, this is the way it is. Watch this fail. Once again, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, unfortunately, last week
they're pushing a mandate that is garbage and that it's against freedom of speech and our rights. And I'm not going to stop saying what's funny. Guess what I don't do in my act? I never cut funny. So if leave, you'll be the only one leaving, and the people will be laughing at your ass leaving.
Exactly. Yeah, as I was about to say, we had a podcast last week with another comedian, great guy, really talented, and he said, "You know what, guys, I'm taking a break of comedy because he lost interest for the moment because he said everything is too heavy in the world right now, and it's really hard to
against that. You got to fight against that and fight, and no."
I agree.
That's how they win. And that, no. I'm not going to be one of those. All of us have to be very careful of the changing of the world, the changing of the guard, I call it. They're trying to take away your rights. Be very careful. That's all. I'm not going to preach about it and say this is what you should do. No. Be aware. All right? Everything is designed to give you less right.
Yeah, exactly.
Lars had an intake on this, I think.
Well, I love somebody who is funny enough to make a heavy topic funny, so there are comedians who challenge themselves with a high level of difficulty. If you're an Olympic diver, you're not doing the simple dives, you're tackling the heavy stuff. And somebody who's been a comedian and a top level comedian for as long as Jeremy Hotz has, he can skillfully navigate those waters. And for him to say, I'm not pulling punches if it's funny, because if it's funny, it holds water. And a comedian's job, a comedian's job is to shed light on ridiculousness or injustice. So I am like, over the course of history, like if you read Mark Twain, there are words in Mark Twain that a writer wouldn't use today. So the pendulum is swinging a little, but in a good way, so that the changes are happening. The people who don't adapt are the ones who aren't going to make it. Somebody like Hotz goes, all right, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to use this word, I'm not going to use that word, because, the goal line has moved. And that'll happen over the course of history. And so I have no problem with people with it being a little more PC. I think Jeremy also spoke to something else that I'm incredibly passionate about. Canada doesn't have a star system, and the lack of star system.
Embarrassing. Sure. When it comes to there's okay, let's put it this way. All right, guys, I'm going to tell you something right now. How many household names of celebrities are there in Canada, would you say?
Not many.
Three.
I don't think
household.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's not many.
And why do you think that is? How many in England?
In England?
Hundreds.
Yeah.
It's done on purpose. They don't want to promote any Canadian at all. They just
Well, now do you think? Now that's a great. So I remember once the first time I met Mike McDonald, and and when I was in high school, Mike McDonald was churning out a new CTV special that was winning highest ratings and Geminis, and so Mike McDonald was hot, like big time. I mean, he was really, really killing it. And he said CBC or CTV who was doing the specials. I think it was CBC. Anyway, they said to him, like, oh, hey, by the way, you've had 3 specials in a row, so now we're going to give somebody else a turn. And he goes, but mine are the highest rated comedy programming you have all year. Why would you take the highest rating and give it to somebody else? And he goes, well, it's very Canadian to go.
There's no answer for the question. There's no answer for that question other than because we're incredibly stupid. We don't know what.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, that's it. That's the answer to the question.
Yeah, the lack of
35 years. Have I ever had my own show in Canada? No. 35 years, and don't think I haven't brought them so many series, and don't think they haven't said no every single time, because they have.
Interesting.
More than interesting. Pathetic, you know?
Yeah.
Things that I would never mention on stage when I do stand-up, because at this point, like, I need them anymore. But boy, they could have stepped up and done what. And now guess what? Here I am on the other side of the fence, and they get nothing. Good call.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to talk favorably about the television networks in Canada, the way they've treated me. Oh my God, please. Oh my goodness.
Not bad.
It's not just me, it's everybody. They don't.
Yeah.
Like we're strippers or something. What is that?
Underpaid strippers.
Well, just in Quebec right now, they're doing an adaptation of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So I really like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but is there any writer right now with great ideas that are not being put ahead because they want to do a sure shot like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you know? So that's sad for me. They should go with our original stuff very more often than they're doing right now.
They're putting on Worlds for the 50th time now. They're putting like that hasn't been done 74 million times. That's no. What about the coroner show they got? Wasn't that Quincy? Except they made it a woman. Oh, that's groundbreaking. That's right. Just like I'm saying. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
I would and it's good. It ain't. I mean, it's just every time I see commercials, I just go like this. During Hockey Night in Canada, I go, it's incredible. Wow, you guys are really hitting it out of the park now.
I would like to see, because I mean, comics was, a Comedy Network presentation where they would film, 15 or 20 comedian hour-long specials each year. And then that went to Comedy Now, and that ran for 14 seasons. It does break my heart a little bit that the Comedy Network isn't producing specials the way they were. They stopped 5 or 6 years ago, and it breaks.
Why is that?
They just didn't. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. It makes me a little bit sad because I got a Comedy Now, so I'm like, I'm not speaking to this as somebody who didn't get one. I'm speaking to this as somebody who has one, and I go, there's so many funny comics, or even going back to the comedians who have a new hour or a new, so. It makes me
never got a chance, right?
That's right, and I think that
because there's no venue for it, right?
Yeah.
That's Canada, the land of no.
The land of no. That's awesome. That's unfortunately awesome, I would say.
It is. But you just have to have you can't be bitter. You have a good attitude about it, and you go about your own business, and you do your own thing, independent of them. That's fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
Just don't let it consume you. That's all.
Yeah.
Even Sebastian in the corner here, guys, is a writer. He's got few novels already, and he's an independent guy because, but whatever reason, Sebastian decided to distribute his books independently and all that.
And how did that work out for him?
That's good. Well, I don't have all the task force behind me, of course, and I'm just starting. But even when you're hired by a company to distribute your books, you have to do all the groundwork, all the marketing groundwork anyway. So why would I let go mostly all of my royalties to do the same thing at the end of the day?
Oh, is that how it works? Someone else gets money? Okay. Yeah, that's probably how. I've never done that.
Here in Canada, anyway.
Okay, I didn't know. I don't know how the book thing works.
The independent authors are way more present in the U.S. Here in Canada, not so much. But
why?
In the U.S.,
I thought you can write your own book and put it on
Amazon.
And And then people, Amazon, why not? How come that? How come Canadian writers aren't doing that?
Yeah, well, more and more authors are doing that now, but it's still marginal though. So they had to do it. I think there's going to be a shift in that business at some point, because now you have all the tools on the internet to
promote your own stuff.
Yeah, to publish your stuff on Kobo, on Amazon, So,
so there's places. And so, but that's what we all do. It's like, I don't know, Lars does a show. I do a show on Sunday. When they go, you're not popular, assume that you're not popular enough to get on their television networks. You just go on the internet and go, no, actually I am. Look at the numbers. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, you are.
That's what you do. So
you have to.
And then wait a sec, I got my show online. I don't need them anymore. That's it's beautiful.
That's marvelous.
The internet put the power back in your hands. It was great.
That's right. Well, Jeremy, I can't wait to see your show. Speak of your show right now.
Yeah, well, don't forget to come and say hi, or else I'll be
absolutely.
Because, like I said, I don't know a lot of folks in Calgary and stuff. So
I will be there, and I will come see you. I don't know if it's the 25th or the 26th yet, but I will be there, absolutely. As I said, hopefully, I would say Seb. I would like to invite Seb, but he's in Montreal. We'll see what Lars is a busy man too, but you know what, Jeremy? I will be there. I promise you that. And I would like to thank you for taking this time with us. It means a lot to us. I'm a big fan.
And I'm having a lot of fun being back in Canada and working for Canada again, because
that's good. That's good. And Lars is a big fan too. So, Lars, thank you for being there. Thank you, Jeremy.
Okay, guys. Thanks. Have a good day.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you, guys.
Take care.